Ladies and gentlemen, it's Spoilerin time. This is the show where we take all that knowledge and news and hard work on Cordkillers, our other show, and figure out how to watch the shows, watch them, and talk about them here. This week, we're going to talk about Rick and Morty, episodes 3 and 4 of season 5, the movie Black Widow, and Loki, episodes 4 and 5 of season 1. I'm Tom Merritt. He's Brian Brushwood.
Yeah, but more importantly, this is Bill Meeks. Bill, how are you doing, sir?
I am great. I'm Bill Meeks from Earth Prime. Just to be clear, Bill Meeks from Earth 3 is a guy you don't want to mess with.
Man, we really wanted to book Alligator Bill Meeks, but apparently not available.
I mean, that's the thing about these Meeks. They all think they're Prime.
Yeah, except
You're
Bill
the Primus to us, Bill. All right, let's get into Loki. Season 1, episodes 4 and 5, the Nexus event. This is kind of all over the place with Renslayer telling Mobius that C20 died from a mental breakdown. Mobius finds a recording of Renslayer interrogating C20 mentally sound. All hell breaks loose in the TVA as everyone realizes that Sylvie and Loki are telling the truth, that they aren't necessarily from the TVA. And at the end, Sylvie overpowers Renslayer, demands the truth, and Loki gets pruned and in a mid-credit scene awakes in an unknown realm. Journey into Mystery is mostly in the unknown realm, where we find out there's all kinds of Lokis that got pruned over the years, hanging out in the unknown realm. And Loki, with the help of Mobius, who also got pruned, is going to figure out how to get out of the unknown realm at the end of time.
Just so we're divvying up all the goods here, Bryce, it sounds like you have hot takes that maybe go in the negative direction on these.
I liked both of these episodes, but I do think that I've got some pretty strong
I will
complaints.
Praise both of them.
Okay.
Because there's only room for one of us to crap all over everything. Let me tell you things I loved. Sure. Ooh, good God, is it gorgeous? This show is gorgeous. How silly with all the Lokis. All those silly Lokis, love them. The idea that the TVA itself is the bad guy, love it, brilliant, down with it. An alligator that's a Loki, all in. There's online chatter about female Loki not being a real Loki, but being a separate character called the Enchantress. I don't know nothing about that, but I'm increasingly, because of the platonic affection that Loki and Sylvie are showing, because they've gone out of their way to make it a platonic, genuine love and affection, it makes me comfortable with what otherwise might have been a weird thing. And weirdly, at this point, like, I hope they don't make it a psych out that she really is female Loki. Like, I hope she's not the Enchantress. I hope she really is female Loki at this point.
And Loki just loves himself.
And you know, from a psychological perspective, take it from me, somebody who's gone through a bit of a roller coaster over the last year. Self-love is important.
Learning to love yourself is important. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I mean that absolutely sincerely. You know.
Before we unleash the Bryce, let's get Bill. Yeah, Bill Meeks. What about you?
I was going to say, I found the whole Loki relationship thing very interesting. It reminds me a lot of, there's a book I love called The Man Who Folded Himself. It's a sci-fi book about this guy with a time belt. And at one point of the book, he meets a female version of himself and falls in love with it. I thought it was really subversive when I read it. I never expected a Disney show to kind of go that route. But overall, I mean, I love the series, especially this episode. Normally when it's like several different versions of a character meeting up, it gets really samey. This didn't feel samey at all. It felt like every Loki had sort of a unique perspective and an important part to play in the story.
And most importantly, no Loki has overstayed their welcome. And this is going to be a deep dive, and Tom may disagree, but what was that Doctor Who where they had all the doctors up until that point in the mid-'80s?
Oh yeah, the 50th anniversary one.
Right,
yeah.
like they went out of their way to be all like, and now you can have the spotlight. Now you can have the spotlight. you don't get that sense at all. It's like you're in, you're out, that's it. You're political Loki, get lost. You're alligator Loki, you get to hiss thrice and then you get lost. There's only 2 Lokis we care about, real Loki and sister Loki.
And yeah, that's the way you build a multiverse, because you could have like 4 or 5 Lokis and get really in depth to all the characters, but then the fans might not like any of them. Now you just introduce President Loki into this, and then if enough people like him, who knows, we might see a President Loki adventure.
And that's the genius of having Sylvie as a character, is that it doesn't throw you when Richard E. Grant is in classic Loki gear, when an alligator is a Loki, when there's a kid Loki. You're like, oh, I guess, that we've been shown early on that there could even be a female Loki, so why not? And that helps keep it from being all samey like you're talking about.
Just throwing this out there, but how great would it have been, like, for that brief moment where anything goes on the Loki front? What if one of them was Gaius Baltar? How great would that have been? Just for a few seconds and one line and he's out. No, okay. I'll
I'm not
see myself.
against it. I'm good. I like it. I think it's good.
I low-key like it, yeah.
I'm just
okay,
living
all
in
right.
fear
That's the
of
one thing
Bryce's
about the
rage.
Loki series, is that my 13-year-old and my 17-year-old will not stop making that joke for weeks and weeks and weeks. All right.
I got it from my 13-year-old.
Yes, of course.
Great minds.
So
Ryan
Bryce.
Loki hates that joke. Look, these are 2 good episodes of television that would be one really great episode of television. That my big issue is with episode 4, though I think episode 5 is also guilty of this. Like, all of episode 4, hear me out here. All of episode 4 is all of the other characters in the cast learning about the thing that we learned at the end of episode 3, which is the TVA is fake. You actually were stolen from Earth. We spend 3/4 of the episode doing that. And then the final act of the episode is the thing we kind of expected, because they told us already that the timekeepers were fake. And obviously, they're robots. What? Oh, we got to learn more about this. And, oh, did we actually kill 2 really popular characters? No, of course we didn't. And so, that's what is frustrating about these 2 episodes, is that they are long in the tooth for what they accomplish, and they don't need to be.
Yes.
Okay. I was gonna yes and. You want to yes and first, and then I'll yes and.
They were pretty.
Yes.
Very, very pretty. Very pretty episode.
I will add that I'm with you on, especially episode 4, the Nexus event, feeling like a stretched out episode. Like there was not as much in it as there was time spent on it. It felt differently paced. And I love Journey into Mystery. Once we're in that Loki realm, it's not Loki realm, but our perspective is he's just a realm full of Lokis, and there's another Loki around the corner every time you look, and then them coming together and teaming up to fight the big bad. Loved it. I love that episode. I had no problems with that episode. That episode was great. I do think, though, that the android thing, I didn't have as jaded a reaction as you, Bryce, where I'm like, see, we all knew it. I had the like, okay, so those are androids, but who is? Like, I'm still wondering who is behind the TVA, right? And I thought that's the ultimate question the whole time, is not, are those the guys, but who is really doing this? And finding out they're androids, yeah, not shocking,
right,
but also doesn't answer the question. And it's like, okay, now we can get past that to what the real question is. So I kind of like that.
If I may propose, point of order, can we never use the word android to describe them, but instead use the word animatronic? Because it's like they went out of their way to make them look like bad showbiz pizza robots.
Well, because I think it was supposed to be in the gestalt of the TVA, which is all like old-fashioned tech.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
They really were animatronic.
I enjoyed they kind of had some allusions there to the Wizard of Oz and like the great and powerful Oz behind the curtain, though, which I thought was kind of cool. I have a theory about who the big bad is. Are you guys okay if I share it?
Is your theory literally the one character who it is very obvious it must be the one who everybody asks for directions from the entire time?
Clarify yourself.
I mean,
the Siri that they've got in the show with
exactly.
the touchy
Alexa, whatever, Miss Minutes.
No, I was actually, I'm thinking the series is called Loki. Yes, Loki is the hero. Yes, there's a million Lokis in it. But what if
Ooh.
Loki is the guy behind everything? Because
That would be dope.
the fake robots, the big cloud thing protecting them, having to go through the trial of Lokis. This feels like something a trickster god would cook up for some reason. I also thought the Richard E. Grant. They mentioned that, it changed from our version of Loki that we saw in Endgame and everything, that he apparated in the chamber, killed Thanos, and went off to a planet all by himself. I'm thinking, what if our actual version of Loki kind of did that and went off and, started the TVA and everything instead? So we kind of got like a hint of what the big bad's origin is, but we'll see our Loki maybe next episode. That's my idea.
Also, Mephisto. Somebody had to say
Mephisto
it.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
actually, Miss Minutes could be Mephisto. They both begin with an M.
Well,
absolutely.
So at this point, here's the difficulty that we get to is I personally really love challenging constraints, and I love an ending that reveals a way to get outside of them that was in front of you the entire time. The only things I've seen so far that are in front of us the entire time are Miss Minutes, and that's it.
But I think Bill's idea that it was just another Loki makes
that would be in front of you too.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. I mean, it's like the first episode reveal when they say, "Loki, your task is to kill Loki." Like, we're too late in this game and for this style of movie for the villain to be someone completely new that they introduced this next episode. So I think it being Loki makes the most sense. I feel like we actually did see a lot of Sylvie's childhood of her being stolen from Asgard, so it would be tough unless it was some weird cyclical, you're the TVA's greatest victim and you created the TV. It's like something like that.
And there's only one more episode left, right?
Correct.
Yep.
So we have enough. We've only seen one of the Lokis die. We saw comic book Old Man Loki die.
In the void, yeah.
So if TVA is, the man behind the curtain is Loki, then it would make sense that all the Lokis would band together and, alligator Loki would bite him in the crotch and they'd be all like, I can't believe he did that. That's great. You're great. You die, big Loki. I could see that.
Loki,
yeah.
I think it's a conspiracy.
Don't.
Maybe they all get together. Maybe what they do is they fix the end of time at where they're having the big void, and then all of the remaining Lokis say, "Cool, this is the timeline that fixes the end of time. Remember when we did the same thing in Endgame? We're doing that again, and we have to protect the timeline." But then they smash it because that's what our variant Loki wants to do, is smash the timeline.
Okay, all right. Let me pitch this. You're the man behind the curtain. You're a Loki. All the Lokis gather together. And he's like, yes, I decided there's only one timeline. It's my timeline. It's the secret timeline. That's a fiction I created because I've tricked all of you. I'm Loki. And it's like, hey, man, timelines don't deserve to be constrained or put in a cage. Timelines should go wherever they want. Well, whatever you do, don't press this button. It'll take all of our Loki-ness to deceive him. Illusion, heart, earth, wind,
dirt.
And then somebody jumps forward and hits the "that was easy" button, and then all the timelines are released, and it's like, stay tuned for what if all the timelines that were just opened up.
Yeah, that's exactly why I was mentioning earlier. I wonder if the What If series is going to connect, because with the way Loki feels like it's ending, with it, how Doctor Strange is going to start, it feels like a really good place to, tell some alternate versions of these stories and get some alternate versions of the characters to compete with, Michael Keaton versus Flash in about a year.
Any other thoughts on Loki episodes 4 and 5?
It's pretty.
Yeah, dug it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm low-key sad that Bill has to go, but if you could, let us know where people can find you online.
Absolutely, Tom. If you want to find me online, just go to billmeeks.com. Everything I do online, including my taxes, are available there.
Excellent. Yeah, it's brave. I really appreciate that.
I'm about
thanks,
openness. Bye.
That is Loki 104, 105. Why does it feel like I'm making the joke when I just say that? It's literally what it's called. Loki episodes 4 and 5. Let's talk about Black Widow, available on Disney Plus or in theaters. I saw it on a TV at home. Brian, how did you see it?
I saw 2/3 of it right before the show and then got pulled away.
Not in a theater, though.
No.
I'm surprised. Both Tom and I were both surprised. We assumed that you would take the family out or someone to go see this over the week.
You know what's funny is I think this might be, we talked about in Cordkillers how different I think you should leave reads alone versus with somebody else. I think I will enjoy this much, much more watching it with the kids than I did watching it alone. Watching it alone, it's like, okay, I get it. This is the action beat. Okay, I get it. This is the whatever. And even what I think will be when I watch it with other human beings, one of the best parts is the family reunion dinner scene or whatever, which is also where I ran out of time. I think I will enjoy that a lot better, but I was really surprised by the gap emotionally I felt between me and anything happening because of irrationally the Soviet communist Russian Cold War upbringing that I had. It's like we're not a real family. We're never a real family. And
that none of that played for you, or that?
Well, it was a barrier that kept me from really having a fun time during all that stuff, which I was really surprised by. Now, having said that, Tom DeGossa in the chat mentions that he likes Captain Stranger Things. I do too. And as the father of the family, he's instantly my favorite character. But all of the believe in the communist propaganda stuff just was distracting enough.
So your ideology got in the way of enjoying it.
Okay. I don't want to phrase it that way. I'm just gonna say that two things.
Because this is not a movie about communism.
Correct. But there were many moments that I felt were very, very relatable, and then something was said that caused it to become less relatable, and then I would find a thing that was relatable and get really excited, and then something was said that was less relatable.
Gotcha.
And keep in mind, all of this movie takes place behind the curtain of, spoilers, future events that happen in the series, which turns down the volume on my excitement for or emotional attachment to literally anyone.
Bryce, did you see it at home or theater?
I watched it at home. I have a theater nearby, but I didn't want to go. It was late in the day, and I just wanted to stay at home. So I paid my Disney tax, and I watched it online. And I thought it was a great way to do it. I was watching it on my laptop outside where it was loud and noises all the time. I thought it was fun. I think I liked the most that it was not a superhero story. Like this didn't feel like a superhero Marvel story. It felt like I think by the fact that Black Widow is not a superhero necessarily, is just a very talented Batman style character, and that really only Alexi's character is technically a super soldier. I think by not having that and by grounding it in some real world issues like child soldiers and found families or families brought together because of Russian espionage, what have you, I think it made all that stuff play a little better than it would have if it was also right in front of flying and zapping and superhero stuff. I thought it was a really good presentation of Marvel's version of a Mission Impossible style spectacle movie.
Yeah, my impression was that story was entirely predictable.
Yeah.
I was never surprised by where it went, but I still enjoyed it. And that was a testament to the shooting and the characters and the stunts. I thought it was fun. I had a great ride, and part of me thinks maybe I would have enjoyed it even more in the theater because of the big explosions and fight scenes. But also part of me thinks that for me, it benefited from being on the smaller screen because the funny, silly family stuff worked in almost a small screen way for me. And it was absolutely not intended that way. This was intended to be seen in a movie theater.
There was a fair bit about a bit of it. I was surprised that I think we crossed the 20-minute mark of nothing but fake family bickering, and for a downbeat, story structure, that's a long time. I
enjoyed it. I loved the Americans aspect of it, where they were, essentially a family embedded and forgotten. Because remember, this is taking place even in the early part at the fall of the Soviet Union, right? So these are not kids that grew up with the Soviet Union. These are kids who grew up in the time after the fall of the Soviet Union. And this, I don't know. I thought it was just an enjoyable, fun ride. I didn't pay too much attention to the story. Maybe that helped me to avoid what you were feeling, Brian.
Well, and keep in mind, like my review is totally unfair because number one, I didn't have time to finish it. Number two, I suspect I will enjoy it much more watching it with the kids. So
that's a good point. At the very end of it, Eileen turned to me and said, "I like that better than Captain Marvel." And I said, "Ooh, wow, that's strong words." And I don't know that I do or do not agree. Honestly, I think I did though. Maybe.
How could you not agree?
I mean,
because it's like opinion based. It's not objective. It's subjective.
Well, first of all, I have a different opinion about Captain Marvel than you do. So my comparison is a different comparison than yours, yes. But also they're just entirely different movies.
Yes.
Captain Marvel is a nostalgia movie, 90s nostalgia movie in the same way that Black Widow is, but otherwise there's nothing similar, I don't think.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, Captain Marvel is a superhero movie, and it's kind of an origin story, which like this Black Widow really isn't. Like it is about her background.
And it takes itself seriously. This doesn't really take itself seriously, I don't think.
I think when it wants to,
there were fairly extended, like there was like an extended Incredibles moment with him trying to get into the old Red Guardian uniform. I mean,
that
was
and also him like pretending like he fought Captain America, and everybody saying like, "What are you talking about? He was frozen.
Yeah, he was
your entire life."
Yeah.
That was fun stuff. I enjoyed that. That was good stuff. All right. Any other thoughts on Black Widow?
Just in the comparison of Captain Marvel, I will say this much. And again, I have not finished it. I still have to finish it with the kids, but it was certainly more joyful than Captain Marvel by a lot. Definitely. It was joyful.
I'll say watching these Disney Plus shows makes the prospect of an hour and a half movie much more bearable.
Oh my God! Yes.
I mean, this does not need to be a long thing, but when it doesn't need to be 6 hour long adventures, like, man, can we just punch the guys, and can we have some jokes, and then can we go home? Can we I really appreciated that this is nice.
2 hours and 15 minutes.
If
I thought it was long because I'm still thinking about it
credits,
as a movie. But that's interesting.
It was over 2 hours long. Yeah. Dude, Chef,
post-credit scene.
96
any
minutes.
thoughts on the post-credit scene? We're obviously setting up Florence Pugh to be a character going forward. A lot of people think she might be involved in the new Avengers. Maybe somehow we get Julia Louis-Dreyfus showing up, and that I think was supposed to happen before you saw her in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So Bryce, any thoughts on that?
I actually did not see her. I did not make it to that point of her in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. So it was cool seeing Julia Louis-Dreyfus in action. I think Florence Pugh was great as Yelena. What I've heard is that this is supposed to lead into Yelena being a part of the Hawkeye TV show to avenge Natasha, I suppose. I forgot that Natasha died. I forgot. Sorry.
Wow.
It was cool
Wow.
seeing
Just, they say Memorial Day is an empty holiday, but maybe not. Maybe it's necessary.
You know what? They didn't make a point. They didn't make a point of her aging gracefully like they did with Captain America. But
Where Captain America eventually turns into Joe Biden.
Right. But
listen, man.
But it seemed fine. You know, they're definitely setting her up to be like a Nick Fury like character, and I think she's got the chops to do it. So yeah.
That, my friends, is Black Widow. Let's talk about Rick and Morty episodes 3 and 4. And honestly, I can't even tell you what happened in 3 after watching 4. Rick Dependence Spray has wiped out a Rick Convenient Mort from my mind. It's wiped out all of television from my mind.
So
I just recently watched both of these today.
Okay.
So a Rick Convenient.
I am most interested in Bryce's take then.
A
If
Rick
you watch
Convenient
them
Mort is
back
the
to back.
Captain Planet one. If people
Yes.
are having a hard
Right.
time remembering it, but Rick Dependence Spray, like, come on.
Yeah, it is hard to beat the beginning of Rick Dependence
Okay,
Spray.
you know what? We'll go in reverse order.
Okay.
If somebody were to, if a nervous conservative Oklahoman mom were to describe what she's most terrified her children are watching on Adult Swim, it would be this exact episode. And if somebody wanted to come defend it, they would have the least amount of ammunition to back them up. They couldn't talk about a clever societal commentary that's happening. It was the most, filthy words coming. It was just nothing but ejaculation jokes and
In fact, they passed a couple
nothing
up
underneath.
I was like, they have so many in there here that there were a couple of like, oh, they're going to make a joke of that. Oh, they didn't. Like, yeah.
Like, they have done grosser things and accomplished more important commentary in so many other episodes. This is one of the least substantial commentaries, coupled with one of the most over the top, just low hanging fruit of the loins.
And an incest baby.
I didn't care for the last couple of episodes. I thought they've been off their game.
I mean, you definitely get the sense over the past few years they've talked about it in the dialogue of this show that they are trying to find a balance between, serialized, continuing stories that are dramatic and examine age and depression and evolving beyond personhood, and just doing funny stories with these characters that people like with interesting dynamics. And I think that they are more on the second option this season than the first, and I think it's fine. Like, I think there are like really great jokes in both of these episodes, and yeah, it's not a major theses on coming of age.
I'm sorry,
or what
did you
have
say
you.
feces?
But in any case, it does what it wants to be, which I think is just a comedy cartoon at this point. I mean, we knew that. I mean, I agree with you, Brian, in that yes, this is not a philosophically heavy episode per se.
Oh,
I mean,
hell no.
they even end it with like Morty about to wrap things up and Rick saying, "No, it's my story," and then his story falls flat. But
So, like, since when is Rick an idiot? Like,
an idiot.
yeah, like Rick is always a billion steps ahead, but in the most obvious of setups, Rick just walks past it, and it's like,
I kind of like that.
This
I kinda
must be
liked the
some kind of
final-
setup
that,
for
that
like
was the twist. That was the thing that made me go, oh, they're showing a little different take here. I thought this episode was ridiculous. It was pretty funny in parts. It reminded me of a lot of my friends' humor, where it's like, oh yeah, just take it as far as you can take it, and then take it another step farther. But that's kind of what I expect. So not having any depth to it, I didn't find to be out of character. It's like, every once in a while you just have an episode where you're like, there doesn't have to be a message. We'll just throw a bunch poop jokes. Those are for amateurs. Let's take it a step further. That's what they did.
And if we're talking about Rick being playing a dumb character, he's definitely a dumb character in a Rick Convenient Mort, right? Where he and Summer are going to these doomed planets to live it up with no commitments and no attachments, and then immediately like grows attached to one of the people from the first planet and realizes that, oh no, they were just sleeping with Rick to survive their planet being destroyed. I mean, that's not only Rick kind of acting dumb and against his own rules, but it's more of him falling into his substance abuse and his bad habits, which are well trodden in the series at this point.
And that episode's got a message to it, which is like good intentions can lead to bad results.
Yeah.
Yes. Rick and Morty I've always had the deepest respect at the moments where they've managed to appear, I mean, much like, the archetype of the King's Jester or whatever, the most base and foolish in the spirit of South Park, but yet at the same time offer the most cutting edge and insightful of social commentary. I got none of that out of the last couple episodes.
You got none of it from Rick Convenient Mort, really? I thought there was, maybe not as insightful or cutting as South Park or even as good as Rick and Morty has been, but it was there. I agree with you that it was not in Rick Dependent Spray at all.
You could make a case for the nihilism of Rick, but we've seen it executed much more elegantly many times before. When he was in love with Unity, when he tried to commit suicide but got too drunk and his head fell down.
I'm talking about the Captain Planet thing.
That's exactly that's exactly what I'm talking about. Because
Rick isn't involved in that. That's all Morty.
What are you talking about? It's
the planet side
Rick's
stuff.
Entire story is his nihilistic avoidance of responsibility. That's the Rick story, and we've seen Rick's story of nihilistic avoidance of responsibility done much better in the past. We've also seen Morty fall in love with various things and people done much better in the past, with whether it's the sex robot that creates the kid, that creates, the Gazorp Zorp where he has responsibility and all of that stuff. So I did not see much new territory. And then that felt even more weird following it up with him having sex with a horse semen extractor, where it's like, this is a guy who had a sex robot and also legitimately fell in love with a robot and also turned into a Tetsuo Akira crazy person with a death crystal for Jessica. And now we're acting like this is the first time he's ever experienced love for Captain Planet. It's all of this feels like very well trodden. Sorry, I said Morty. That's what I'm talking about. Rick's story is one of nihilism and avoidance, and Morty's story is one of following in love, and in the Captain Planet one. But then also we're supposed to believe that he's obsessed with a horse semen extractor in the following episode.
Morty is.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, of course he is. He's a teenage boy.
Sorry. At what point do we disagree?
I don't know. I'm confused.
What my thesis is that for the last two episodes, all we've seen is retreads of themes we've seen done much better in the past. Your witness.
Okay. Sure, maybe. I mean, I don't know. I thought a Rick Convenient Mort had a theme of your good intentions saving the planet can lead to bad intent, especially if your good intentions are polluted by other intentions. In Morty's case, like, he fell in love with this girl.
Which is much better covered in the episode where he takes the snake and releases it back to the snake planet, and you get to see all of that happen.
I guess. I don't know. I don't mind seeing it more than the theme treated more than once in different ways. And I found this entertaining. You didn't. I think that's really all that ends. But I don't think they can never revisit a theme. And I thought that I thought the Captain Planet thing worked. I was like, oh yeah, okay. This is taking the ecological argument again in a different way. I don't know. I felt it was different enough. As far as the other side, the Rick's nihilism,
Space
I
burn,
guess
yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to think about it more. Maybe I'd have to rewatch the episode. My reaction was like, yeah, that's what Rick does, and I thought that was a really funny conceit of them, hiding out in the planets and giving Summer some agency. That was the fun part, is that Summer was the one seeing what was really going on, and we got to see Summer get the upper hand for once.
Yes, I will agree that is the most in control that we've gotten to see Summer, and I did enjoy seeing her be very Rick.
Yeah, good times. I don't know, man. I enjoyed these. I didn't think too much about it. Maybe I should have thought more about them. I wouldn't have enjoyed them as much.
I mean, and also it's like, yeah, I don't know. You watch different things with different expectations and in different situations.
Sure.
And
the only thing I got hung up on, I was having a little hard time following you earlier, but I think I get what you're saying now, which is like, hey, these themes aren't new, and that's totally fair. I thought a Rick Convenient more with the Captain Planet illusion and the sort of the environmentalism take, that felt newish to me. Certainly not a theme they haven't treated before. You're right. But it was like, hey, Captain Planet is fun. And you can agree with her up until a point, and then she takes it too far. And Morty can be in it for the wrong reasons, but then realize the right reasons. That seemed decent. Certainly not the deepest, most insightful that they've ever been by any stretch. Rick Dependence Spray was just dumb. It was just dumb jokes. And that is not me condemning it. That's me saying, if you're here for dumb jokes, you've got a masterpiece. This is your masterpiece of stupid jokes. If you wanted something more like Brian was saying, it's going to disappoint you, because unless I'm missing it, there's nothing else underneath.
Yeah. And also the jokes, normally their jokes are jokes. These were dangerously close to just outlining what it's like to be a pubescent boy and referencing some of the gross things of sexual self-discovery that happen. And it's like, well, and the joke is, oh no, you're just saying, remember that moment of growing up?
But also parodying Independence Day.
Yes. Okay. The structure thereof. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and if you want a higher concept examination of Rick Dependence Spray, I'm sure that, I don't know.
I'm sure they've already done it in a previous episode.
No. But I mean, if it's Morty's story, it is another kind of coming of age story, and probably another example of Morty trying doing something, whatever you might think of him doing with that device. And then trying to lie and cover it up. And actually, Rick Dependence Spray does end with a pretty direct moral, which is like, hey, don't lie. People will not like it, but don't lie. And then he tells the truth, and she's like immediately like frustrated.
Yeah.
But that's just that's a joke for the end. But I don't know. I think you can give these a little more shake if what you want is an overarching message. No.
I guess in summary, my wild card in my back pocket with all episodes of Rick and Morty usually is, dude, look what they're saying about blank. It's 2 episodes in a row where if there is a message about look what they're saying about blank, they've already done it much, much better in a previous episode. And that is a little bit.
But if we're at the point where we have to judge everything in comparison to its heaviest hits, then we should stop covering the show, because it's never going to get better than.
Dude, MCU did it for 21 outside of Captain Marvel, almost 21 movies straight.
Okay, but all right.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really thought of Rick and Morty as being the message carrier, even though I definitely know it has had a message. It's just not what I've looked at it for. So we will see if there's a message in next episode.
Cordkillers@gmail.com.
Rick and Morty episodes 3 and 4. Anything else?
No, I still love it.
That is Rick and Morty episodes 3 and 4 of season 5. And that is it for Spoilerin Time. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us and watching us. You get these episodes early at patreon.com/Cordkillers. Next week, we will be spoiling Loki, the season finale. It's only 6 episodes long, so the 6th episode, talking about Rick and Morty episode 5, and back to our library watch, Hannibal, episodes 7 and 8. Remember, we're doing 2 episodes of Hannibal a week, so we will spoil you then.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.